A Portland-based technology company is taking a new approach to how employees receive raises. Expensify has co-workers vote on each other's pay. The company cut managers from the process and moved to a system where co-workers assess one another's performance and contributions to the company. To talk more about this is Expensify CEO David Barrett. David, welcome. Great to see you. This is a really novel idea. So can you explain a little more about how Expensify's compensation review process works?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a straightforward concept. And then basically, we all report to each other. We're not just working for a boss, we're working for our peers. And so everyone in the company weighs in on a biannual basis on basically a really simple question. We take two random employees and say, who do you think should be paid more, A or B, B or C? And so you ask that about 9,000 times. You will have ranked the entire company against each other. And then once you've done that, we kind of combine all the results together, normalize it, do some filtering, and that just spits out a number. And so basically, the way that you succeed at Expensify is not by pleasing your boss. You have to satisfy everyone around you.
But I have a question. Does that only work because you're a relatively small company where everybody knows what everybody else does?
Absolutely. I mean, we're a very small company. We've got 140 employees, and we're a newly public company. We do over $1 million in revenue per employee. And I think that this is an unusual group of people, certainly. And so I wouldn't say you could just apply this to any large company. I think that we're a very special place. We are very specific about the kind of people that we hire. And we operate in a super transparent fashion where everyone works with everyone. There are no titles, there's no managers. Everyone's just basically an incredibly collaborative team. And so I don't know that this would work for all companies, but it certainly works for ours.
But how do you control for A, this not becoming a popularity contest, the guy or gal that everybody loves getting high votes, and B, that if somebody has a grudge against somebody else, that they might vote to lower their pay or not give them a raise?
Great questions. And so I'd say for the latter one, for sort of how do you deal with the grudges basically aren't statistically relevant. And so the way it works is if someone is substantially ranking someone different than everyone else, that person's jobs or votes are filtered out. Basically, for any particular match, we filter the top 5 and lower 5% basically of all the matches. So that kind of takes out any personal bias sort of issues. When it comes to popularity contests, that's a trickier one because it's hard to separate popularity from actual performance. And so I think the way that we do that is we just talk about the nature of unconscious bias, and we try to build the system in a way that sort of controls for that bias. So for example, in the tool itself, it doesn't show photos of each other. So it just talks of performance and the numbers and so forth. And so I can't claim it's a perfect system. I don't think any system really is perfect. But if it comes through everyone being aware of what the problems are and holding themselves to high standards, then you can do statistical filtering to take out the outliers. We think we can get pretty close.
And so how did your company decide to move to this system? Who came up with this idea, and how is it being received by employees so far?
Well, I mean, it's been like this for a long time. And so I think the idea has been a really powerful one in that basically we hire people who are looking to work with a group of very empowered employees and coworkers. And so as a result, I think it's been embraced because of the people that we hire are looking for an environment where they're not being judged by a manager. They basically have control over their own careers and want to be judged by their own choices in terms of how they choose to spend their time. And so I think that it's been a really powerful technique for Expensify because it's such a collaborative team, and we hire people who want to be part of that collaborative team. Does
everybody get voted on, even the CEO?
Yeah, everyone. Like my compensation, everyone's compensation is decided the exact same way. And so it's all by formula. Like there's no, if you can go to your boss and ask for a raise, and if that works, that just means you've been underpaid all along. And so our approach is to say you shouldn't need to ask for a raise. You shouldn't have to view negotiation as a key part of your job. Everyone gets paid fairly by design, not fairly just by chance in most companies.
So what are the immediate benefits you're seeing in the company? Because it's my understanding from reading about how this works, it does take a long time. It takes about 9 hours for each employee to go through all this. So that's, time they could be spent working. Instead, they're evaluating each other. So do you think that is helpful to the company in the long run? Is this something that you see as beneficial?
Sure. I mean, we wouldn't do it if it weren't. And I think the numbers prove themselves out. And so, yes, I think that the advantage of this system is it allows everyone to to really know their peers. And in a collaborative environment, the more sort of general context you have with the people around you, the more effective your collaboration is. And so one way to view this as twice a year, we take the time to really learn everything about our coworkers, do research, look at the Slack conversations that had them, think about our interactions, and then review what we think value is. Like, how does this person not just perform their own sort of tasks, but help others? Like internally, we have this concept of 2 rules. Number 1 is just get done. Rule number 2 is just don't ruin it for everyone else. And so basically we evaluate everyone according to these rules. And I think it's an important simplification of, like, we don't need to have a bunch of managers and a bunch of complexity. It's all about, is everyone doing right by their peers and doing right by the customer and investor?
It's a really interesting idea, and it sounds like it's working really well for your company. So David Barrett, thank you so much for coming by to tell us about it.
Thanks. It's a pleasure.